So, as I was saying, serum creatinine is generally high in patients who have starvation or they have fever, yeah, for any wasting disease such as rhabdomyolysis, muscle wasting disease, might be atrophy as well. उनके अंदर serum creatinine particularly high रहता. Okay. Then there is blood glucose. अच्छा ये तो बोल सकना. What is the normal blood glucose level? So let me put it this way. What is normal FBS? Fasting blood sugar. What is the normal amount of glucose in a patient who is fasting? Hmm. Okay, so 90 mgl maybe थोड़ा high है, थोड़ा कम रहना. Okay, someone answered 90 mg per dl. You are close, almost close actually. Actually, in certain textbooks you might actually उसको normal range में भी ले सकते, but slightly lower रहा तो अच्छा. 90 is fine. Okay, in normal individuals, FBS should be somewhere close to 70 mg per dl. It can vary almost up to 100, but you'll be in trouble if it goes beyond 100. Okay, so generally lower, nearer to 70 is taken as normal. Patients who have anywhere in between 100 to 125 mg per dl, this is FBS. Okay, so you have asked the patient to not eat for almost 12 hours and you are performing this test. You are withdrawing a little bit of their blood and urine and then you are checking it. Okay, so the patient is fasting. This is not GRBS. Randomly a blood sugar nahi check kar rahe. When the patient is fasting and their blood sugar comes up to 100 to 125, these patients are categorized as pre-diabetic. Okay. If it is more than 126, then the patient will be diagnosed as diabetics. Okay. Now, generally, you will make sure that the patient is not on any drugs or they are not on they have properly fasted, because you do not want any drug to cause spike in their sugar levels and you do not want them to eat, which might unnecessarily skew the result of your test. Okay. Now, as such, abnormalities in blood sugar levels will reflect disturbances in carbohydrate metabolism. If the patient's carbohydrate metabolism is skewed, or if their carbohydrate metabolism is improper, that is when you see their blood glucose level being extremely high. Okay. Now, hyperglycemia as such is suggestive of diabetes. Hyperglycemia might also occur in other conditions, but more often than not, it is diabetes. It might be associated with decreased insulin secretion or decreased insulin action. Okay, sometimes the amount of insulin that is present in the patient's body itself is very low, or sometimes that insulin is not, how should I put it, the insulin receptor is not responding properly to insulin. As a result, even if insulin is present, it is not able to inspire the what you call influx of glucose into the cell. As a result, hyperglycemia is occurring. Okay. Relative, yeah, absolute decrease in insulin levels both will cause diabetes. So for example, let's suppose you have a cell like this and there is an insulin receptor here like this. ठीक है. अब यहाँ बाजू से एक blood vessel जा रही है जिसके अंदर glucose molecules है. Let us suppose these blue dots represent glucose molecules. ठीक है. And let us suppose this molecule represents insulin. The green molecule represents insulin. Okay, let me just put insulin, glucose. ठीक है. Whenever glucose level rises in your blood, insulin essentially attaches to the receptor on the cell. This fellow will go here. It attaches into the receptor. As a result, there is a internal receptor that is present inside the cell. Internal glucose receptor idhar rehta wo. It will come onto the surface, and as a result, what will happen is a gate will open here. And as a result, this glucose molecule can go inside the cell. That is how normally your glucose needs to be used. In diabetes, there can be a relative or absolute decrease in insulin. Absolute decrease in insulin is when your pancreas are not producing enough amount of insulin. What cells produce insulin? What are the cells responsible for production of insulin? Acha, what are the cells present in pancreas? Nando. What type of cells are present inside your pancreas? अल्फा, गामा, गामा रहते डेल्टा रहता? Delta, okay. And there's another type of cell that you're forgetting.
Beta.
Hmm. अच्छा, which type of cell is producing what now? ये तीन type of cell है. This I'm specifically talking about islets of Langerhans. Okay, I'm not talking about all of the pancreas. I'm specifically talking about islets of Langerhans. उसके अंदर तीन type of cells रहते बोल रहे हैं आप. Alpha, beta and delta. There's gamma cells as well. What is their function? What do they secrete? Beta
Sir, alpha.
cells. Yeah, व्हाट अबाउट
Beta
बीटा
cells
सेल्स? हाँ हाँ बोलो. बीटा सेल्स क्या करते हैं?
insulin produce.
ओके, बीटा सेल प्रोड्यूसेस इंसुलिन.
Alpha cells है तो glucagon.
गुड. और व्हाट अबाउट डेल्टा सेल्स? एवर heard of growth hormone inhibiting hormone? GHIH किसको बोलते हैं? There is
Somatostatin.
exactly. Somatostatin is produced by these delta cells. Now, insulin is if there is if there is a patient in whom beta cells are either destroyed or they are not working properly. At that time what will happen is there is absolute decrease in the amount of insulin present in their blood. So the total amount of insulin itself, the volume of insulin will go down. ठीक है, that is the absolute deficiency of insulin. वो condition को क्या बोलते हैं? Diabetes mellitus type 1. ठीक है, अगर if the patient has relative deficiency of insulin, meaning insulin is present inside their blood but this receptor is non-responsive to insulin. Let us suppose that receptor does not conform with insulin. If the receptor is not accepting insulin, in that scenario as well insulin will not be able to attach properly to the receptor and it will not be able to inspire the endocytosis of glucose. As a result, again hyperglycemia can occur. That condition will be DM2. In any scenario diabetes में patient को hyperglycemia हो रहा, whether it be because of relative or absolute what do you call loss of insulin. ठीक है, I hope you understood the concept here. What is relative loss and what is absolute loss? Absolute loss में there is a direct decrease in the amount of insulin in the blood. Relative loss में the amount of insulin in the blood is normal but the receptor is not responsive anymore. ठीक है, so and that period of time that insulin will be useless. Then there are thyroid function tests. Achha, what are the thyroid hormones? What are the hormones that are produced by your thyroid gland? Specifically thyroid follicular cells. एंड क्या हुआ, थायराइड स्किप कर दिए थे क्या लास्ट ईयर एग्जाम के लिए?
T3 and T4.
हु इज थायरोक्सिन?
T4.
Okay. Is there any more hormones that are secreted by thyroid or only these two? Secreted by
calcitonin,
thyroid. Excuse me.
calcitonin,
Calcitonin. Calcitonin thyroid ही secrete करता, parathyroid secrete करता. Thyroid ही करता. I'm just confusing you. क्या thyroid ही करता. Okay, calcitonin is one. Ever heard of reverse T3? I'm not sure आप लोगों के level पे आप पढ़ाए नहीं पढ़ाए. There's another hormone called reverse T3 that is produced by thyroid. So whenever you're testing, anyway, whenever you're testing the function of thyroid, you will check the patient's relative levels of T3 and T4. Now circulatory thyroid hormone will be T4. ठीक है, ज्यादातर आपके सर्कुलेशन में T4 मिलता, but the more active one is T3. ठीक है, metabolically active one is T3, almost 3 to 5 times more active than T4. Generally what happens is in your blood, whenever thyroid hormone has to be circulated, it will circulate in the form of T4, and whenever it has to inspire a function from a cell, it gets converted into T3. That T3 will go into the nucleus of the cell and it will perform its function. Okay, at the cellular level T3 is more important than T4. Okay, it'll have several functions, metabolic function, it'll help in development, tissue differentiation, so on and so forth, even regulation of certain mechanisms. If a patient is having hyperthyroidism, generally their T3 and T4 will be high, but the TSH will be low. Okay, there are a few cases in which T4 might be normal but T3 is high, selective hyperthyroidism बोलते हैं उसको. ठीक है, similarly you might have hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism में TSH high रहता but T3 T4 low रहते. What is TSH?
Thyroid stimulating hormone.
Who is producing thyroid stimulating hormone?
Pituitary gland.
Correct. Pituitary gland या hypothalamus?
Anterior part of pituitary.
Anterior part of pituitary. Okay. Anterior pituitary gland is producing TSH. So who is stimulating anterior pituitary to produce TSH? Can anyone tell me? I'm essentially asking you what is HPT axis. Here the T is thyroid. TRH बोल के एक हार्मोन रहता ना, which is produced by your hypothalamus, thyrotropin releasing hormone. That fellow will stimulate your anterior pituitary, which in turn stimulates your thyroid hormone to produce your thyroid gland to produce your thyroid hormones. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, coming to the next one, we have serum uric acid levels. Recently studied about a condition in which uric acid levels is very high, which is gout. Gouty arthritis भी बोलते हैं उसको. ठीक है. Serum uric acid is the end product of purine metabolism. Generally, it will be present. There are several sources of uric acid. Generally, food that contain a lot of purine, for example, liver, kidney, heart, or meat in general. Meat, poultry, fish, वो पूरे में purines बहुत high रहते. Patients or people who generally eat high amounts of non-veg food, उन लोगों के अंदर generally uric acid levels slightly higher रहते. वेजिटेबल्स एंड सीरियल्स में कम रहता, यूरिक एसिड उतना सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं रहता. Whenever uric acid is very high, it will start forming certain crystals. ठीक है, normally in men uric acid levels are somewhere in between, in males uric acid level is somewhere in between 3 to 7 mg per dl. ठीक है, women में it is somewhere in between 2.4 to 6.4 mg per dl. चिल्ड्रन में और कम रहता, चिल्ड्रन में 2 to 5.5 रहता. mg per dl. This is children. ठीक है. Now this range will also alter depending on their own diet. Okay. And also in women, their uric acid levels will generally increase after menopause. Okay. It might even be higher in pregnant women, specifically in their third trimester. And sometimes even in their first year of life, women will have slightly higher amount of uric acid present in them. Okay. Whenever a patient has hyperuricemia, they will generally translate it will generally translate to gout. What will happen is urate deposits or urate crystals will start depositing in certain joints, and those joints will start getting inflamed and they'll hurt a lot. That is gout or gouty arthritis essentially. There are a few conditions which can cause hypouricemia as well, specifically drugs. Okay. If the patient is taking, let's suppose, uricosuric drugs like allopurinol या फिर probenecid, या फिर the patient is taking salicylates, very high amounts of benfurane, ये पूरे drugs की वजह से technically it is treatment of gout, but sometimes it can cause hypouricemia as well. And even impairment of tubular reabsorption of uric acid can also lead to hypouricemia. Normally a lot of uric acid will be excreted out of your kidneys, but a little amount will be reabsorbed. If that little reabsorption is not occurring properly, tubular reabsorption, that is when hypouricemia occurs. Okay. Then there is blood urea. Blood urea. Generally it is associated with blood urea and nitrogen, पूरा साथ में लेते, BUN टेस्ट करते उसको. It is a byproduct. Urea itself is a end product of protein catabolism. Whenever you break down protein, that is how you get urea. ठीक है. Deamination of amino acids takes place in urine, and at the end of that you will have urea cycle. Ornithine cycle and urea cycle last year अपन पढ़े थे. उसका एक end product is urea. ठीक है. Ammonia is converted into urea and that is excreted in your urine. Some urea is bound to hemoglobin. So what happens is the concentration of urea might be high in red blood cells, slightly higher in red blood cells. If you do find urea in blood, it will generally be concentrated in and around your RBCs. Okay. Hemoglobin is just more attractive to urea. In any scenario, your normal blood urea levels, if a patient is having a normal diet, will be somewhere in between 21 to 53 mg per dl. Okay. If the patient is having kidney disorders, that is when urea generally develops, increase amount of urea develops. अगर patient को nephritis है, acute renal failure है, most causes of renal failure will lead to increase in blood urea because it will not be excreted properly. Sometimes it can be a non-renal condition as well. For example, if the patient is consuming excess amounts of urea, or there is excessive degeneration of amino acids and proteins into formation of urea. So for example, if the patient has a wasting disease in which more and more amount of muscle mass is being broken down, at that time also blood urea levels will go significantly up. Okay. Now there are three more blood chemistry tests that we have left: serum phosphorus, blood lipids, and serum amylase. We'll look at that tomorrow. Okay. क्या हुआ आज फार्माकोलॉजी वो पैथोलॉजी क्लास में इतनी कम हो गई पॉपुलेशन?